We'll get back to Primeval a little later when we revisit his work in Unholy Realms, but for now, let's move on to Bucket's version of this track called Plunge Saw from the Plutonium MIDI pack. This one is a really cool, like hard, hard rock, like metal version of the original, so fire this up, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and yeah, you can see the time signature difference there. Yeah, drums really get going here. And then that's better. So you can hear Bucket throws in his own few, bits and parts and things like that. And as you'll soon hear in a little bit, let's actually head on over to, well, actually, before we do that, again, yes, the square sound here, again, very, very evident. This one kind of like ping-pongs back and forth between both ears. We have two tracks here with this sound, and you can see, similar to Primeval's PRCP track, it echoes with just like an extra added rest here right at the beginning. So yeah, let's listen to how that. Yep. Another thing to point out here is that the electric bass and the distortion guitar also share the same part. So they essentially just play our familiar riff here. But what's even more cool is that we have now the introduction of another guitar, the overdriven guitar, which plays harmonies and solos on top of that. So let's listen to that. You can hear the familiar harmonies in there. Yeah, so again, all kinds of new things going on in here, combined with the original to really just kind of lift it up into an even more chaotic, even more chaotic sound. Which again, this track was written for Go To It as well. So it's again, it's a fitting track for that map with, perfectly encapsulating all the carnage and chaos going on. I'd be remiss if I also didn't point out the They're Going to Get You section in the latter half of the track, so let's have a listen to that part real quick as well. Really creative how he melded these two tracks together here. Yep, square lead has the solo and the guitars are just droning in the background there. Yeah, so there's a lot going on in this one as well. A really cool remix of the original. But those are some of my favorite things about that track. And now we will return to Primeval with Everybody Told Me About Id from Unholy Realms. We now have the square lead part being taken over by strings this time, which is really cool. Even the low strings are now coming in with that bass riff there. You can see what that looks like here. Yep. And the way he's got this set up is, well, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. It's the same chord setup as his PRCP track. A minor, D minor, E major this time, again. And you can see here, yes, there's 4 strings tracks. This one here is playing the riff. And then there's 3 harmonizing tracks that each play different notes here to match each chord. And those are spread out across, across from ear to ear as well. Again, they don't pan, but they do, you have one harmony coming in the left ear, one in the right ear, and I believe maybe the root note, or maybe not the root note, but, oh no, it is the root note, I think. Yeah, if I'm reading that correctly, the root note coming in dead center. So, yeah, really cool introduction here. I think this is more... I think this version is a little more refined than the PRCP version because the drums also, as you'll hear, are a little bit better balanced. They're not quite as loud in comparison to the rest of the instruments. And you have the choir sound there. Yeah, you have the choir. Sort of like how the synthesized strings in Nobody Told Me About Plutonia, Jimmy's Plute 2 track. The choir here... Choir sort of takes over for that that kind of backing sound to, kind of keeping each, each measure grounded in, whatever chord is playing there. Another thing I really like about this piece is that the fact that the strings are so nervous sounding. It's very uneasy, even more uneasy than the original. And if we just kind of let this play a little bit, pretty soon we'll have the harmony come in again here. You can hear it right there. It's a lot easier to hear now. There it is. And it's a French horn playing the harmony too, which is really cool. Yeah, it's really cool, much more distinguished sound. I think the French horn is a really underrated MIDI instrument. It has a distinct retro sound to it, which can make it sound kind of dated in some tracks, but not. I don't know. I think it just really all depends on what kind of instruments you pair it with. But you can really get some great mileage out of it, like he does here. And then if we sort of fast forward a little bit further on, take a listen to this. Really cool thing here. This piece does something that none of the other ones have done so far, and that's a key change. We have a key change to B minor, and then, of course, to D minor, the further we get into that section there. But even cooler than that, we also have a third part to the harmony here in this here cello part here. So this is the French horn track, but this cello comes up underneath the French horn and sounds like this. And then together they sound like this. Yeah, just going all out here. And then the other thing, too, is that the choir is now playing... there's a lot more notes being played in the choir section. They're still playing the same pattern of notes, but there's also these bass notes down here, really just filling out that sound and just going all in for the finale here. So let's actually listen to... Here we go. Really great stuff. Really just brings it on home there. And then just because I feel the need to point it out, we actually have right here at the end. little bit of pedal point there with that that low B being held in the strings. But anyhow, that's my favorite parts for PRIMEVAL's Unholy Realms track. And now there's two more special versions that I want to share with you guys here. This next version comes to us from the 2017 WAD The Edge of Time, and I believe it was done by someone named MegatestRetro. And this one is like a pop, dance remix, although it has a distinctly more 2010s kind of sound to it. But this one was a little different because when I ripped this one from the WAD file, it was not in MIDI form. It's actually in MP3 form. So I don't know. Maybe it's like a different kind of mod that doesn't use MIDI music. I'm not sure. But anyhow, it sounds very eerie at first. It sounds like high-pitched piano. It's harder to tell what instruments are used here since there's no way to see, what kind of... Yeah, that's definitely strings there. Yeah, but there's, again, it's harder to tell what kind of instruments were used here because, it's not like you can just pop this thing open in like a MIDI editor and see what kind of tracks are in there with what instruments. This is an MP3, again, so can't really distinguish that, but... Yeah, some of these quieter breaks really help make the drums stand out more. A few other little bits in there. There's the drum build up. Sounds like there could be some organs in there too. The other crazy thing about this one is that there's no key changes at all in here. It just stays in that A minor realm. It doesn't transition to C minor at all. And so, yeah, it's kind of weird. I haven't heard this version in any other WADs out there. So, yeah, it's definitely one of a kind there with the the dance beat to it. It's pretty cool. And finally, from Waterboy, this comes to us out of the Golden Souls 2 from 2018. This is an organ cover of the track here. This is another MP3 rip from the WAD file. You can hear already... Yeah, it's much slower. Noticeably slower tempo. There's no drums used at all in this version, and the organ has that kind of muffled sound. You can hear it has a muffled sound and follows almost the exact same pattern as the original square lead and sawtooth parts do. So, yeah, I just skipped ahead to the fast bit here. So again, really eerie, a lot more eerie than the other versions we've heard in the past. But definitely a pretty cool one. And again, I haven't heard it in any other WADs outside of Golden Souls 2. So hopefully hopefully it'll surface in some other ones here that, are compatible with MP3s and stuff like that. So that is the rundown of all the covers, remixes, and different versions I could find of Nobody Told Me About Id, originally by Bobby Prince. I hope you enjoyed this video, and comment below what your favorite track was that we heard here today. It's really amazing how many different versions of this one track there are out there after all these years. Just from dance remixes to metal to, more upbeat, pop type tunes there, and even more orchestral. It's really cool how versatile this track is that uses so few instruments in the original version. And that's why I say that Nobody Told Me About Id has one of the one of the most lasting legacies out of any track in the original Doom OST, and that is also, again, why it's one of my personal favorites. So, let me know what you guys think. Until the next video, this is Ray, and I'll see you guys next time.